Now you finish stitching your little box and you'll have a shape like this. You're going to have 4 little pointy corners. You're going to have these little corner pockets. And here's where you have to decide what you want to do next. You can leave those on the outside as a design feature. Tip back your little corners to give it a little edge. I'm just going to clip those, secure them with a stitch or a button. You can leave those little corners as they are. I don't think they're much good for anything. They're quite small. You could press them flat and stitch them. It's entirely up to you. You can flip the box and have those little corners on the inside. In some of the bigger baskets, if you do a bigger size, like from using an 18-inch square or a 20-inch square, you're going to get bigger corners. About 2.5, 3 inches is what's the diagonal would be. So they might be of some use maybe for holding small bits, like a little clip or a little stitch ripper or something. What I have found with these very small ones, what works most effectively, is I actually trim them down quite close to the stitching. And French seam them. Get them as close as you reasonably can to the stitching. Poke out those corners really well. Pin or clip just to hold them. And you're going to go back to your machine and again doing a nice secure little stitch. Enclose all of those raw edges. Enclose them completely and you'll get a nice finish. So I'll just go to the machine and do that, and we'll pause this for a second. Now I have stitched and enclosed all of those raw edges. It's approximately a 1/4 inch seam is what it works out at if you can get it trimmed in close enough to your previous stitching. Remember to make sure you enclose, or sorry, you stitch securely at the top. Now you see my little box now has got, it's tall and thin. So in actual fact what I should have done, my 1.5 inches was probably too much. 1 inch is probably going to be enough. But it makes a nice little box anyway, or bag or container. It's a little tall one, but it will hold little sweeties, little items, whatever you might want to place in it. So by enclosing the raw edges, you actually make the box a little bit taller. By leaving them the way I had originally, with the edges, the little diagonal edges, corners like this one here, you're going to get a flatter little box. So it's just on what you want. But if you want these enclosed seams, 1 inch would probably be enough, but I wanted to make a tall little one here. And that's, there you go. So it's the technique. Once you have the technique, you can use away on any. I've made a large one here. I made this one with 18 inches square, and I've enclosed the raw edges. I put a handle on this one, so I got a little basket. So that's a grand little gift bag. And I was thinking of that, you know, something like that maybe for Christmas, where you're going to get a double use. I made a really large one here. And this one I used the foam, and this is about a 22-inch square. I got quite a big basket. Now mind you, it holds a lot of bits and bobs. I used that beside the machine, and I might put a bit of a project or whatever I'm doing into that, and lots of other bits and pieces. So I hope you will have a go at making a little fabric box. More to the point is to practice using your stitches, or using your fancy threads, or using up those little bundles or odd little fat quarters, or strips of binding maybe that you've left over from a previous quilt, and just sew those together and have a little bit of fun. Thank you for watching.